Hi, welcome to the Village of Buchanan August 2019 meeting. In case of emergency, please use your exit to your right or use the exit behind the elevator. Please do not use the elevator in case of emergency. And if you could please join me for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I know people on TV cannot see the audience, but we have a large audience here tonight, and we always like to have a lot of people here in the audience. Yeah, it's thousands. Yeah, we just couldn't capture all those people.
Since they can't see, let's just say what we want.
Okay. So, approved minutes, June 25th, 2019 workshop. Any comments, corrections?
Nothing from me.
Nothing from me.
Okay, on a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving along to the July 2nd, 2019 board meeting. Any comments, questions?
Nothing from me.
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
Okay, good. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, comments from the floor, agenda items only. Any comments? Okay. Under new business, we have a resolution appointing the village clerk, and I will read the first one. Whereas due to the resignation of the clerk of the Village of Buchanan, it is necessary to appoint new personnel to fill the position of village clerk. And whereas the Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees is desirous of filling the village clerk position, and whereas pursuant to Village Law 3-301, the village clerk shall be appointed by the board upon the recommendation of the mayor. And whereas the mayor has recommended Ms. Cynthia Kempter to the position of village clerk. Now therefore be resolved that Cynthia Kempter be and is hereby appointed as the Village of Buchanan clerk effective August 6, 2019, at a total annual salary of $16,000. And be it further resolved that such appointment is subject to all village hiring policies and procedures. So before we vote on this, and I know Cindy will kill me, but I'm not gonna go into detail. But Cindy is a very humble person. Cindy has been with us for 23 years, and she does a great job for us in the village, down in the village office. And she has been 7 or 8 years as the deputy mayor, so Cindy is very well qualified.
Clerk.
Deputy clerk. You could be the deputy mayor too, if you like. In your spare time, you could do that.
She wears many hats.
Yes, she does. And, you know, we appreciate everything you do for us, Cindy. I know you work hard, and the village is definitely a big priority. Okay, I can't say anymore because she's going to cry. I'm sorry. But we appreciate it, believe me. And I know you'll do a great job here. And we have Sharon here tonight, too. She works in the office downstairs with Cindy, and both of them really keep the office going. And we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And you know what? I'm going to embarrass you even more.
Oh, geez. Yay! Okay, now we're going to vote.
Wait, 1 second.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You
Yes,
guys all
ma'am.
got the job description, yes? You're all good?
Yeah,
Cindy's?
we're all good.
We're good? Okay, just want to get that on the record. We have a
Oh,
job
the
description.
The
Cindy's
tension
aware
is
of it.
mounting. How will the board vote?
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Here comes a joke now.
On a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
I'm just gonna add my 2 cents to this and tell you, as Rich always says, you do a yeoman's job of work, an old Navy term, and we're so happy to have you in the saddle. So keep riding.
Not into the sunset, just keep riding.
Excellent.
Okay, so Resolution B, hiring a part-time caretaker. Dwayne, if you could read that
Yes,
for
Madam
us,
Mayor.
please.
Village of Buchanan, resolution authorizing the employment of a part-time caretaker. Whereas due to the resignation of the Village of Buchanan part-time caretaker, it is necessary to hire new personnel to fill the position of part-time caretaker. And whereas the Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees is desirous of filling the position, and whereas the Village Board has reviewed the resume submitted as recommended by Michael Rigolo of 109 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York, to be appointed Village of Buchanan part-time caretaker. Now therefore be it resolved that Michael Riggio of 109 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York, 10511, be and is hereby appointed as Village of Buchanan part-time caretaker effective immediately at an hourly wage of $15, and be it further resolved that such appointment is subject to all village hiring policies and procedures, and be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is authorized to place the aforementioned individual on the village payroll as set forth above, and to pay the salary as set forth herein.
All right, thank you. We had advertised for this position. We had gone through the applications that were in our file, and we decided on Michael Ruggiero, and he does have some experience in caretaking, so I'm sure Mike will do a good job for the village. We had a resignation from our part-time caretaker. He was with us for quite some time, but he resigned, so we needed to replace our caretaker. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
On a question?
I would just like to say that Ruggiero is not that hard to pronounce, so, you know, for the record, it's Ruggiero, right?
Is it?
Is
Yeah.
is he
Yes,
here- is he
Ruggiero.
here?
No.
I don't think so,
No,
no.
okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the pronunciation. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Nick, could you read the next two? Okay.
Sure.
And then I'll have Cheech.
We're on to
Okay.
the sanitation truck. Village of Buchanan resolution authorizing the purchase of a sanitation truck. Whereas it has been determined by the Village Board of Trustees that the sanitation truck that is now being used by the Highway Department is in need of replacement due to its age and mileage, and whereas the Village Board did budget to replace the truck in 2018, and whereas it is necessary to have a reliable sanitation truck for the collection of refuse from village residents and establishments, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees received a quote pursuant to a state bid from Vaso Systems, Inc. in the amount of $204,997, a copy of which is annexed here too. Now be it therefore resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the purchase of a 2020 Freightliner M2-106 tandem chassis and 2018 Heil PTC 25-yard rear load packer. I know you all want to applause. I'm almost done. Along with all the additional items noted on the attached quote for the sum of $204,997.
All right, thank you, Nick. And as you can see, garbage trucks are not cheap, but it was time to replace this truck. We have now a 2005 International, and we also have a 1988 Mack truck. So we'll be replacing the Mack truck, and eventually, this takes, I think, almost up to 6 months. They're building the truck. They're actually, they don't have a parking lot for garbage trucks. So they're building this truck, they'll start building it, and then most likely we will put the old one out to surplus. And what I'm understanding, a lot of these garbage companies look for the older trucks that they'll buy. So we'll eventually put that out to surplus, but we're 6 months down the road. Okay, on a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On a question? All in favor?
Aye.
The village is getting a new garbage truck.
All right.
All right. So make sure you,
And we did budget for that.
at least for the first year, make sure your garbage is nice and clean. We don't want to get the truck dirty.
The first day, that's going to be over. Okay.
All right. Village of Buchanan Resolution, amending the master fee schedule for the Village of Buchanan. Whereas by local law number 9 of 2011, the Village of Buchanan established Chapter 90 entitled Fees to the Code of the Village of Buchanan, permitting the setting of village fees through Board of Trustee resolutions. And whereas by resolution dated February 7th, 2011, the Village Board of Trustees adopted a master fee schedule setting fees for the Village of Buchanan. And whereas Section 4 of said local law permits the amendment of the master fee schedule by resolution, whereas the Village Board of Trustees from time to time reviews the fee schedule to determine if the fees are in accordance with the costs incurred by the village. And whereas the Village Board of Trustees has determined that it is necessary to install new water meters that can be read remotely without having to have village employees spend time manually reading the water meters, and has made numerous attempts to install said meters in every residence within the Village of Buchanan. And whereas there are numerous residents who have and continue to refuse to allow the installation of the new remote water meters, despite numerous efforts by the Village of Buchanan to do so, now therefore be it resolved that the master fee schedule shall be amended to add a fee under the section entitled Water Department to be charged to the owner of every residence which still requires the water meter to be read manually as follows. For property owners of the Village of Buchanan, the following fees shall apply. The manual water reading fee will be $200, and every additional 6-month manual water reading will be $200.
So, I believe we have about 60 residents that still have not had put new meters in. So please contact the Village Hall to set up an appointment so we can get those new water meters in. And so also you can avoid the $200 fee for a manual read. So,
And I'd like to point out that the overwhelming majority of residents have cooperated, have made their meter location available. When the people switched out the meters, it's something that they did very quickly. I think they spent about 15 minutes at my house and they were done. So it's not like we need your house for the day. It's just a matter of getting in, switching the meter out, and that's it. If you have not enabled us to do that, it's going to cost you $400 a year.
yes, you can ask the question to the board now.
No, I was just mentioning that, this process by the private company ended 3 months ago or thereabouts.
Something like that?
Yeah, and that, a grace period for those who have been lingering, but not necessarily be subject to this before the next reading. I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. So there is, this isn't going to go into effect like tomorrow, but
When is it?
with the next reading. Yeah, with the next reading.
Right, there actually will be a letter sent to the people, to those 60 or so people. We have drafted a letter that's going to go out to those people, and it explains that you have 60 days from the time that the letter goes out to facilitate this change. So we're making every effort to avoid this fee. We're not going to just slap people with it blindly. Everybody will be informed. Those 60 or so people will be informed by mail and given a 60-day period to respond.
Very good.
Good, thank you. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Trustee Pasquale?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The Village of Buchanan Resolution adopting amendments to personnel policies and employee handbook. Whereas the Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees has previously adopted personnel policies and procedures memorialized within the employee handbook, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees has determined that certain revisions are required that shall be incorporated into the personnel Policies and Employee Handbook. And whereas it is the intent of this resolution to approve and adopt the updated Personnel Policy/Employee Handbook. Now be it therefore resolved that the annexed Employee Handbook is hereby adopted, and be it further resolved that the Employee Handbook is intended to provide guidelines governing public service by Village of Buchanan employees and is not a contract. The provisions of the Employee Handbook may be amended and supplemented from time to time at the sole discretion of the Village of Trustees.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
We worked on this for many, many months, and we finally come to a resolution. The whole board is interested in this updated employee handbook. And with that, on a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On a question?
There's one correction on page
Okay.
20. Cindy, do you have a copy of the final?
No, I didn't get it now.
Okay, so I'm going to slip it, and then I'll email you the copy, because you're the one having it, right?
What page?
It's 20.
Teresa, can I
Just
just
one
be excused
small.
for 1 second?
Town
Just wanna
to
see.
village.
Sure.
But I'll get it to you, the whole thing.
Okay.
Did you
Anyway,
want to put
sorry.
it on record, the correction, or are you?
No, because we'll have the final.
Okay.
It's one small word, and then the correction for seasonal employee that Nick has, I'm not sure is
Okay.
in Cindy's.
That's in there.
That's in there. Okay, so there's one small on page.
Okay, all right,
I'll
just
get
more of
her
a
the final.
typo thing, okay.
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I guess trustee Pasquale, you're on a roll.
Oh, boy, okay. Village of Buchanan resolution authorizing the village board to contract with a part-time senior consultant. Whereas due to the resignation of the Village of Buchanan senior director, it is necessary to hire new personnel to fill the position. And whereas the Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees is desirous of filling the position, and whereas there is currently no person qualified to assume the position of part-time senior director pursuant to civil service requirements, leading the village board to agree to enter into a contract with a part-time senior consultant who will not be deemed to be a village employee, but rather an independent contractor. And whereas the village board has reviewed the resume submitted and has recommended Mr. Michael Lepori, 155 Lindsay Avenue, Buchanan, New York, be hired as the part-time senior consultant pursuant to a contract between the Village of Buchanan and Mr. Lepori. And whereas the salary for the position of senior consultant is a sum of $9,600 per year, paid on a monthly basis. Now therefore be it resolved that Michael Lepori, 155 Lindsay Avenue, Buchanan, New York, 10511, be and is hereby hired as a consultant to the position of part-time Village of Buchanan senior consultant, effective immediately, at a total annual salary of $9,600. And be it further resolved that such hiring is subject to all village hiring policies and procedures, and be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is authorized to pay the salary as set forth herein.
Okay, thank you. On a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
On a question? All in favor?
Aye.
So, Mike, congratulations. Welcome to the Senior Events Coordinator. Thank you. And thank you for stepping up and wanting to help the seniors and working with them. We appreciate it. Okay, information from officers and departments. Justice Court Report, June 2019, received and filed. One was $918, the other was $2,960.90. Police reports, June 2019. Let's see, I just looked this over quickly. Calls for service, 46 calls for service. Animal complaints, 10. We had a rash of coyote sightings. Total arrest, 9. Okay, received and filed, thank you.
May I ask a question on the?
Sure, absolutely.
Just 46 calls for service, is it possible, Chief, that you could, just generally, what are those calls like? I mean, what do we mean when we say calls for service? I mean, a call for dark house, criminal mischief, these are all service in a way. So what is it that's grouped in that 46 calls? What kinds of things?
I think it's broken down in there.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not a
that's
separate
the total.
category? That's like a,
So each of those categories is what each of those calls for service.
oh, so that's.
Would be categorized
So
as.
this breakdown is that 46?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
correct.
thought it was a separate 46.
Nope, that's.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, we can continue. Moving summons 77, parking summons 1. Okay? I'd just like to just do a quick review so people can see. Attorney's report. Attorney Stephanie, do you have anything for us
I
this
do, I have a
evening?
couple things. Okay, so I finally received a proposed contract between the village and Buchanan Engine Company. So
Okay,
I'd like to go through that in executive session.
yes.
Update on WIC, the final trial date is September 12th. That's a drop dead date,
Okay.
finally. We have a zoning board application for the first time in maybe 6 months, set for next week. And it is what you guys might remember as the Velardo property, which is at the intersection of Lindsay and Albany Post Road, right?
Across from the hardware store?
It's been going on a decade or more. And so anyway, what had happened was they came back in a few times over the past 5 or 6 years. They got some variances, but then it went into foreclosure. The mortgagee, the owner, the bank, who was a private lender, moved to foreclose. That stayed for about a year, and so that person expected the foreclosure to come through. He came in, we did public hearings, we gave variances, we went to planning, and then bankruptcy was filed. So that stayed it for a couple more years. But the good news is, on June 3rd of this year, there was a referee's deed back to United Real Estate, and so he is now the owner. He's the applicant. I've spoken with him, I've spoken with his architect, and they've got an application for the 3 variances, which I don't think would be denied, and then they're going to go straight to planning. They were pretty far along, so I'm hopeful that you're going to see that development actually happen for the first time in forever. So, anyway,
Those
just
are-
wanted to update you. 'cause
Those
you'll
are
see
area
some-
variances, the variances, setbacks, and
Yeah, there were 3, actually, 3 front
nothing,
yard.
not use variance, right?
No, nope. It's going to be what was proposed, and I'm assuming it's the same proposal, was commercial or on the bottom and residential on top.
Okay.
They're using the same drawings that were presented, they're updated, obviously, but for the decade. Anyway.
Okay, great.
Court clerk, I'm not sure if you're all aware that our court clerk is leaving at the end of October. And the village law, that's an appointment. The court clerk is an appointment by the mayor with the advice and consent of the justices. And I think Trustee Zachary is going to sit down with the justices and try to talk through what the expectations are on both sides and come to some sort of an agreement as to who or when somebody might be hired. Correct, Trustee Zachary?
Yes, there was a conversation which I would rather leave
Okay.
out right now.
Alrighty. And then the other thing is Marilyn of FP Clark. She's been the consultant that was sent by FP Clark to sit with us as our planner for, 10 years, as long as I've been here. So she's retired. And so I'm going to reach out probably this week, since we're going to have something in planning soon, and figure out who they're going to send up in her place. And I'm sure it'll be somebody that we can work just as well with. And then for executive session, I also have a personnel. So I have a contract issue and a personnel issue. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Stephanie.
Yep.
Yeah, we do have a few other personnel, so
That's
when we
all I
go
have.
into exec session, we'll discuss. Okay, I'm gonna go according to this. Usually I go first, but trustees reports. We're gonna do a little different, change it up tonight. Dwayne, what do you have for us tonight?
Really a shout out, an early shout out for the 9/11 celebration or remembrance at Croton Park on Wednesday, September 11th, 2019. And if you haven't been there, it's a very stunning project, to say the least. And the setting is absolutely great. My wife and I, we go over there and walk sometimes, so it's a very nice area. And although it's going on a few years now,
Yeah.
we should still
2001, 2019.
remember
15
those
years.
who perished that day. And I'm so glad that the federal government has seen fit to make the settlement fund forever, because I have 3 friends that were all down on 9/11. I had my stand there that day, and all 3 of them have since gotten cancer. You know, a reporter, an insurance agent, and a postal worker. So it's definitely for real, and I'm just glad that we've got at least that part over it. Kind of takes me back to the whole Agent Orange issue with the Vietnam veterans, and that still comes up, because years after the settlement, people were still being affected by the agent. So that's basically it for me.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say something?
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks for bringing that up, Dwayne. I can't tell you how important that is, and just from a personal standpoint, I'm on that list, and thank God I'm strong and healthy, but thank you, how important that really is. So, just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Zachary, what do you have for us this evening? Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you. That certainly was a life-altering event, history-altering event. And as it turns out, today, August 6th, is the anniversary of the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, another life-altering event. Fortunately, these weapons haven't been used since then. But history does get bent and twisted and thrown for a loop periodically, and those are 2 events that did that. You know, peace is better than war, but it's hard to achieve sometimes. Move the mic back, too loud? Is that good from there? Thank you. So I wanted just to mention that at the next workshop, I want to confirm that we're rescheduling the discussion with the building inspector for zoning code review. Is that on for the next workshop?
We are going
We
to
have that
have a
scheduled.
lengthy workshop next month.
Okay,
There's a lot.
so the next workshop, which is August 27th, that will be part of the discussion. Anybody that would like to participate or listen in or contribute, make comments, August 27th. I just have a safe and enjoyable rest of the summer. Get out for a walk. Get out in a kayak. Have some fun. Pick a fresh tomato and bite into it. That's it.
All right.
Go get a Yankee game.
Thank you for those words of wisdom. Okay, I can't top that, but I just wanted to mention, I've been in contact with Supervisor Puglisi, and people have noticed. Yeah, did you speak? No.
No.
I just blew him off. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you.
Now
Trustee
for that, I'm
Pasquale,
going
could
to
you
talk for
please-
20 minutes.
Uh-oh, here we go. It's a tough curve.
I just wanted to say thank you, Cindy, for all you're doing. We're really lucky to have you. You know, I'm really, you know, and you'll be seeing a lot of me, trust me. Okay, and welcome, Mike. It's good that you're here and helping the seniors out, and I know they've been without somebody for quite a while. Gabe's big shoes to fit, but you're going to be just fine. And also, just to go over, when we get our Village of Buchanan police stats, I have put some stories to some of these numbers, and I thank Sergeant Farrell for giving me these, and I'll read some of them out. On June 1st, 2019, at approximately 10 p.m., Detective Loescher received several complaints about a large party at a village residence. Detective Loescher responded and spoke to the resident, who turned down the music and kept the noise to a minimum. No further complaints were made. On June 11th, 2019, approximately 4:30, Officer Buddy executed a bench warrant out of the Village of Buchanan on an individual from Peekskill. The individual was brought before the village judge, sentenced, and released to Westchester County Corrections. June 18th, 2019, approximately 9 a.m., Sergeant Farrell and Officer Tiernan responded to a report of criminal mischief to a vehicle. After investigation, Sergeant Farrell and Officer Tiernan were able to identify and make contact with the suspect, who subsequently turned himself in. The suspect was arrested and charged with felony criminal mischief and was arraigned in the Village of Buchanan Court. June 22nd, approximately 12:45 p.m., while on patrol, Officer Buddy observed a vehicle with a broken windshield. Officer Buddy conducted a vehicle and traffic stop. Upon further investigation, the operator was found to have a suspended New York State driver's license. The operator was arrested and charged with aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle and issued traffic summonses. And on June 27th, at approximately 11:19 p.m., Officer Tiernan responded to a call of an erratic driver in the village. Officer Tiernan was able to locate the vehicle. Upon further investigation, determined the operator of the motor vehicle was driving while intoxicated. The operator was subsequently arrested and charged with a felony aggravated DWI. If I'm not mistaken, was that the one guy that hit the pole? No. No? Oh, okay. I was just, well, good work.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an incident on Tate Avenue where
Yeah,
a pole and a car met, so.
yeah. And, you know, for people that don't know that, if you ever get into a car accident and you do take out a pole or something like that, your insurance company is responsible for that. You know, so be prepared to pay quite a lot of money for that if it does happen. Just giving you the heads up. Okay.
That's not from experience, right?
Huh? I plead innocent of all charges.
No, we know you're a good guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding. Okay, the only thing I have this evening, I've been in contact with the supervisor in the town, Linda Puglisi, and everyone has noticed that the lake is not looking so healthy. What happened is there's an invasive species in there, and it's growing at a rapid rate. They are in contact with the DEC, so they're working with the DEC to resolve that. So by next year, we should see the health of the lake turn around again.
You mean algae?
No, it's actually an invasive, some type of an invasive.
Animal, fish?
No, it's a plant.
A plant,
It's an
algae,
invasive.
yeah, it's that.
I'm not sure if it's algae.
It is, it's like a
Is it?
seaweed.
Okay.
It was,
Yeah, it's like a seaweed, yeah.
I forget the name of it. It came up a couple of years ago.
Well, I think this is a different
Oh, it's a
form of
different
an
one?
Florida's
invasive,
having a lot of
yeah.
problems with that as well.
They have the-
So,
yeah, the red
they're
tide,
working
yep.
on it, just want to let everybody know that that will be addressed. Okay, that's all I have for this evening, so comments from the floor, any comments from the floor? No? Okay, everybody's shy today, okay. Okay, I am going to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss contractual and personnel issues.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a great Buchanan day.